Hey, welcome back, welcome back. Yeah, so recently there was a case, JSP versus Aga Khan Hospital. This was a case where the father of a child who was a victim of medical negligence was suing Aga Khan Hospital for negligence. And this was because his child had developed complications as a result of the negligence. And initially, the High Court had awarded 800,000 shillings for damages. So they were dissatisfied with that outcome, and they appealed that decision. And the court awarded a whopping 15 million shillings as damages, together with a further 7.8 million shillings as future expenses, because the child would then need psychotherapy, etc, etc. So total it came to around almost 22 million, up from 800,000 shillings. So it's a very welcome decision, it's a very interesting decision, and it shows the leaps and bounds in which our courts have come, and the appreciation that people must be held accountable. So today I want to talk about medical negligence. There are so many people out there, and for this particular video I want to talk about medical negligence specifically associated with pregnancy and childbirth. There are so many mothers out there that are victims of medical negligence, but wouldn't even know that they were victims of medical negligence. So I want to break down, one, how do you know that you're a victim of medical negligence? And two, when you know that you're a victim of medical negligence, how do you ensure that you have a very, very strong case with regards to this particular issue? Okay, so in my previous video, I think if you check in my records, maybe I shot it 5 years ago, I explained that medical negligence arises where there is a duty of care that the hospital owes to the patient, and where that care was breached, and as a result of that breach, the victim suffered injuries. And it can be directly linked to the negligence of those particular officials. So that's how medical negligence occurs. So how do you know that you have been a victim of medical negligence, especially as associated with birth or delivery of children? Okay, one, if the pregnancy or if the labor process has been elongated, or it has been laborious, or it has been very difficult for you, then there is a chance that someone somewhere was not doing their part, and that these decisions were not taken timely, and that's why you found yourself in a situation where this particular pregnancy or this particular delivery became so difficult. That's number one. Number two, if there's been cases of misdiagnosis, maybe you are a mother and you had an underlying condition, say gestation diabetes, which is diabetes that comes with pregnancy, or you had preeclampsia, or you had ectopic pregnancy, and the hospital ought to have picked this thing up, but they did not do it, and as a result of which you suffered loss, then there's a chance that medical negligence is involved. Sorry. If the third thing is, if your child, after being delivered, ends up having complications, either complications with coordination of the hand and the body and the brain, so that means they were affected when they were being pulled out, or so if the child has injuries, or if you as the mother has injuries, maybe you had excessive hemorrhage, or you developed some complications, maybe even vaginal tearing, then someone somewhere must have been negligent. Okay, so those are just some of the examples that can be given that can demonstrate that someone somewhere did not do their job well. So if you're out there and you are suspecting that your childbirth was mishandled, those could be some of the indicators. But if you just have a feeling, because as a mother you have just a hunch that things would have been done better, as a result of which now your child has to live with lifelong complications, or you yourself as a mother have to, suffer the injuries that were occasioned by that negligence, then there is recourse, and that's why we're here to hear your story out and see how we can help you. Now, I want to go to the next part, and the next part is basically, how do you prepare a strong case for medical negligence? So medical negligence cases are pretty complicated cases because they are at the intersection of medicine and medical practice and the legal practice. So you need to understand, how do you prepare a case that is watertight, that you can actually pin down these institutions and hold them accountable for their negligent acts. Okay? I'll be back in a few.